Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, as you can probably guess, today is going to be the day where I'm going to be gear honing. I've been saving up my mats ever since I hit 1400 about a month ago, and I've been pretty much playing Lost Ark, playing on my dailies, funneling those materials for the most part to my main, especially the Destruction and Guardian Stones. Everything else was pretty much sold off for gold and switched for Marisuka shop materials. I also have a good amount of materials from the Ark Pass as well added to this. So pretty much this is what I have so far. I know it definitely is not enough to get to 1445, but what I wanted to show you guys was my experience of gear honing based off this many materials and also comparing it to the average honing scenario off maxroll.gg's calculator. So pretty much this is how much materials I have. It looks like a lot, but I'm definitely going to burn through it all knowing my luck. And you know, that's just how it is when you're honing. Throughout playing Lost Ark, I have failed so many times and I've hit pity multiple times, so I'm no stranger to the pity department. And my hopes is that I definitely don't hit the worst case scenario on honing off Max Rose calculator, but I'm somewhere in between the worst case and the average case. So hopefully closer towards the average because that would be an immense amount of material. But for the most part, how I'm honing is that I'm going to be honing my 2 pieces to plus 17 and hitting pity many times. But the reason why I'm doing that first is because I want to see how much materials I actually need in order to get to 1415. So if you didn't know, the optimal way to get to 1415 is to get 2 pieces to plus 17, 1 piece to plus 13, 2 pieces to plus 12, and you leave your weapon at plus 11. And that should be enough to get you to 1415. As I continued to keep upgrading my gear to plus 16, plus 17, it went pretty smooth for the most part. I was able to get it in a couple taps, like around 3 or 4 for both of them, and it felt pretty good. But after I started enhancing my second piece, that's where my luck reversed and it went downhill. So I started to hit pity on multiple enhancement levels and I started to burn through a lot of materials, but by the end of it, I eventually hit 1415. And if you look here on my inventory, you can tell I already used up a whole bunch of Guardian Stones and a Greater Honor Leap Stones. So I used a little bit over half. So I'm going to show you what I started with here on the left and what I have here on the right after hitting 1415. So I used up a whole bunch of materials and I'm quite curious to see if I did better than what's considered the average honing scenario. So I went on maxroll.gg and went on their honing calculator and put in 2 pieces of armor from plus 12 to plus 17. And pretty much for the worst case scenario, you would be using 1,788 Greater Honor Leap Stones. And for the average case scenario, you would be using 791 Greater Honor Leap Stones. In my case, I used way more than the average. I actually used 1,088 Greater Honor Leap Stones. And it is what it is, right? It's not the average scenario. It's slightly below average, but it's definitely not the worst case scenario. So the worst case scenario, you would be spending so much materials, and I hope nobody ever hits pity on every single piece. It's pretty brutal, but you know, it is what it is. I'm happy that I'm able to access Valtan normal mode. So I start to upgrade again, and this time I'm going to upgrade my weapon. I know many of you guys don't have enough Solar Grace, Blessing, and Protection. I don't have enough either for a fully optimal attempt, but we just gotta work with what we got. So I had enough for 17 fully juiced swings after buying 80 additional Solar Graces off Marisuka's shop, and pretty much I burned through it all. And by the end of it, I used up a lot of materials, and on the left, what you're going to see here is what materials that I had before honing at plus 12 and what I had after. So I apologize, I don't have the screenshot of my inventory after hitting plus 16, but I had 238 Greater Honor Leap Stones left. And I have 24% into my Artisan Energy, and I'm probably going to hit the pity on that. But let's compare it to the max roll calculator. So the worst case scenario with optimal materials, you're probably going to use 756 Greater Honor Leap Stones and a whole bunch of Solar Grace, Blessing, and Protection. The second case scenario is the average scenario with optimal materials is around 290 Greater Honor Leap Stones. And for the most part, I didn't have enough Solar Grace and Protections to actually meet those optimal requirements. So I added in the third case scenario, which is the worst case scenario, no additional materials. This is fully pity on every single attempt. So 1,002 Greater Honor Leap Stones. So hopefully nobody has to hit that. I'm getting pretty close to it. So you check out where I'm at currently. I've used 674 Greater Honor Leap Stones. And by the time I actually get it to plus 17, it will probably take me around 750 Greater Honor Leap Stones. So I'm definitely not there at the worst case scenario without optimal materials. I'm getting close to there. and it pretty much feels bad because for me in my MMO journeys and in Lost Ark as well, what I learned is that when you're honing, if it's not 100%, it's a 50-50. Even if it's a 90% chance of gear honing, it's still a 50-50 because I failed those as well. So pretty much it's all RNG based, but at least Lost Ark has a pity system and you can keep moving on. So I still have some materials left in order to gear hone. I'm not going to show you all the details for that, but I'll give you the TLDR, which is I got it to plus 17 with above average luck. So I was super happy on that. So it pretty much evened out one of my pieces, but I still have two pieces, one being the weapon where I got pretty close to being the worst case scenario on full pity attempts. So that pretty much sucks. But what I really wanted to show you guys was at the end is what it costed me in order to basically get to 1430. I know I'm not 1430, I'm pretty close to there, but let's just say it for sake of simplicity. But from a month of farming on my main character, 5 different ults in tier 3, and Arc Pass materials, I was able to increase my item level by 30 points. So I'm pretty close to 1430. And I think within the next 2 weeks, if we still have events, I will definitely be able to hit 1445. Because I'll get the weekly resets, I'll get PvP rewards. On top of it, I'm increasing my PvP tier, so I'll get higher PvP rewards as well. And we get a whole bunch of resets from the weekly pirate ship where I can get more destruction stones, more guardian stones, so there'll be a bunch of materials there. And naturally, my other ults will continue to start getting to a higher item level. So some of them are getting closer to 1370. I'll get access to hard mode abyssals and Argos, and I'll get more income as well from Valtan normal mode, and I will eventually get there. And you know, if you're not quite there yet for Valtan and you're quite a ways off, don't worry, you'll get there. The content will always be there. There'll be people still doing Argos, there'll be people still doing Valtan, and by the time the next raid out, people will be doing that as well. So don't worry about that. People will still be continuing the content because many players that are free to play or have a lot of time on their hands, they have a lot of ults. So they'll be playing on them, doing Legion raids, doing content at many aspects of the game. So eventually you will get there. But that's pretty much it for me. I wish you guys really good luck with your gear honing. I hope you guys don't have the same luck as me because I definitely pitied many pieces trying to enhance my gear. But pretty much though, I was able to push my gear level up pretty far and I'm pretty happy about it. And in a couple weeks, I'll be able to get access to hard mode Valtan. So at the end of the day, everything's Gucci. But you know, if you're feeling tired, burned out, you're feeling like the grind is tedious, check out the video that I have in my channel on burnout. It may help you out in your Lost Ark journey and pretty much in any MMO that you play. It has some simple tips that sometimes people just tend to forget. But that's pretty much it for me. I'll catch you guys next time in another video for Lost Ark. Peace.